Hi, we're the Huge Movie Fanatics here to give you a review of the first truly great X-Men movie, X-Men First Class.
You
Now,
like this the best?
oh, by far, this is hands down the best. This is what they should have been doing from the get-go. I wish so much that the other X-Men movies never happened. I wish this was the first X-Men movie. And they get characterization absolutely right, and that's what matters most for any movie ever. Make sure you have the characters feel real and people that you can understand where they're coming from and why they do what they do. And the opening scene of this, because why ruin something that was so great, is the same opening sequence
I
from
remember that.
the first X-Men movie.
How do you feel about that?
It's kind of a little cheat, but
is
at
a
the end
cheat.
of the day, I'm going to ignore that other movie happened. And it works for this.
Wow, did you see it in the theater?
Yes, I did. And
What
when I
is-
saw it in the theater, I was like,
Oh.
I was just sitting there like, wow, is this actually, why are they showing me the same thing? And I'm like, that's so weird. But it is such a powerful
That's true.
event, and it works for what happens throughout the rest of the movie. It's important to remember that scene. Because what happened to him in that concentration camp, and how the dude, the Nazi, was actually a mutant himself, who was trying to get him to unleash his power to do evil things, and when the kid wouldn't do it, he just shot his mother right in the head. Like that, to unleash his abilities, like that whole scene, that mattered. Because, so I was fine with it at the end of the day. Once I saw the movie in the whole, but as I was watching it for the first time, I was like,
my God.
okay, like, did I walk into 2000?
Yeah.
But Magneto, they just nailed him. I understand why he is the way he is. He was molded to be this person who ruthlessly does not trust other mutants and ruthlessly does not trust other human beings because they look down on him as being different, either because he's Jewish or because he's a mutant.
Jewish mutant, you're screwed.
Yeah, and everybody in his life was taken from him. He feels cheated, he feels hurt, you feel his anger. It's palpable throughout the whole movie.
And who is he?
Michael Fassbender. And man, he does a great job. This is such a strong performance out of him. And then you have James McAvoy as Patrick Stewart's Charles Xavier. And what he does, which is different, Patrick Stewart played it rather straight. Like, I'm Xavier, and I do what I do, and I'm in a wheelchair, and that's how it happens, and I think really well. And that was the extent of his performance. This gives character to who that person is, and makes you sort of understand why he wants to find other people like him. And this person is this is a person who has fun with himself. He's willing to use his abilities to try to pick up chicks.
Hey, baby.
Yeah, and I like that he's so 60s. He's always saying things are groovy and stuff like that. And it's a fun Xavier. We haven't seen this before. It was new. Not only that, you understand why he's morally the way he is. He believes firmly that the mutants should stick together and they should try to embrace human beings because that's who we came from and all this kind of stuff. And we can coexist in a world together, whereas whereas Magneto is like, no, we cannot. That we are divided for a reason. We are the next step in evolution and should take them down. And it was this great struggle between these two people who we very much believed are friends. And they used the character of Mystique so perfectly, played by Jennifer Lawrence, as the fulcrum of the emotional pivot. Because she's best friends with him, but she completely relates and understands to Magneto because of what her deformity is a physical one. She has to hide who she is, and you have this one guy who's like, yes, be human, look normal, so we can fit in with them, so we can coexist with them. And then you have another person who's like, be who you are, be proud, be mutant and proud, exactly of who you are. That's the way you were born. And so, you understand both sides, and you, as the audience, are Mystique. You're trying to decide who you're going to rest with. And I think it's so great. And then the emotional final battle between the humans, the dark mutants, and then Xavier and Magneto, all four of them fighting each other, is just so strong. And you find out that Magneto's the one that paralyzes Xavier in the first place. And that scene is just like that. Every time I see it, brings immediate tears to my eyes. Just seeing how like blind rage can overcome you, and you don't realize what you feel is right is putting somebody else in harm's way, and that you very much care about, that you don't intend to do. And I think it's a regret that he carries with him, and which is why he never fully goes out against the X-Men, even in the other movies. He never tries to fight Xavier. Xavier is always trying to stop Magneto. And I think that's all comes from this moment, which was devised for this movie, but it works.
So who did this movie?
This movie was done by Matthew Vaughn, who did Stardust and Kick-Ass and this. He's doing I believe a sci-fi film next. He was going to do X-Men, the next X-Men movie, Days of Future Past, but he decided not to because they're taking it in a different direction than he'd wanted to. Well, they're doing something interesting. He wanted to continue on it solely with the First Class crew that they developed and whatnot, and continue that story and work in, like, because this one involved with the Cuban Missile Crisis. So the next one he wanted to do something with the assassination of Kennedy, and maybe that's why there was another shooter and whatnot. Perhaps it was a mutant and it was like this conspiracy thing. He wanted to go that direction. Bryan Singer actually is going to do the next movie.
No way.
And Bryan Singer is doing Days of Future Past, which is a comic book storyline wherein it's going to star Ian McKellen and all of them as reprising their roles, with Kitty Pryde actually sending Wolverine back to the 60s, and somehow Kitty Pryde gets lost along the way, and so the two worlds collide, where young Xavier and old Xavier meet, young Magneto and old Magneto meet, and Beast, and Rogue and Kitty Pryde and Iceman are there as well, as like Havoc, and the Screamer guy and stuff like that from the First Class crew. And, they're melding both franchises so that they can continue both franchises on, so that there can be an X-Men 4 following the old hoagies that nobody cares about, or an X-Men First Class 2, which is a movie I want to see, because that's what I care about. But Bryan Singer's going to do it. I only hope it's not 2.5 hours of Superman not hitting somebody. So anyway, this movie, I give immediate 4 stars. This is one of my all-time favorite comic book movies. It's actually my number 3 for all-time favorite comic book movies, right behind Spider-Man 2 and The Dark Knight. This is number 3, and it's just so powerful all the way through. The action pieces, well, there aren't that many. This really didn't lead to be an action movie. It was more of a character piece. I'm fine with that, and the action does work. The whole submarine thing at the end is really fantastic. When you feel it, when Magneto pulls that out of the water, like, and how excited he is that Xavier was right. He just needed to channel and find the place between rage and serenity, and that was just such a beautiful moment when he was pulling this out.
I apologize. I seen it once a while ago when anyway. I probably felt something like 3 stars at the time. I don't know if that's accurate. I don't remember it.
Right on. I just want to also throw out Henry Jackman does the score for this movie, and he does a great job. It's one of the best scores I've heard. It channels 60s James Bond very, very well, but it also feels X-Men, it feels summer blockbuster, it feels everything that it needed to be. It fit the era that the movie was taking place in. I liked the whole 60s look. I liked Jennifer Lawrence and the miniskirts and stuff like that, looking just so 60s. She almost looked like she was in a blue Star Trek uniform from the original series, and I liked that. Same thing with the other characters, like they just felt very genuine, as opposed to like other movies that try to take place in the past and it just doesn't feel that way. This one totally did. So, best X-Men movie hands down for me. One of the best comic book movies out there.
Yeah, I don't know what to call this. It's pretty much a Matt review, so who knows what I'll call it. Whatever I call it is whatever I call it. All right.
Right on.
say we're done?
That's right on.
Oh, right on. All right. Thanks for watching.
Peace.